Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to this introduction to Lilt for Translators. My name is Carmen, and in the next 25 minutes or so, I will show you what Lilt is and how Lilt works. This session consists of two main parts. First, I will give you a very brief introduction into Lilt. This will take about 5 minutes. And second, I will give you a live demo of our web app, which will be then the major part of this webinar. If you have any questions, you can ask them in the Q&A section of this application. All right, what is Lilt? Lilt is intelligent technology that implements a human-machine partnership with a real-time feedback loop. In fact, Lilt is the very first translation engine that utilizes a continual human-machine feedback loop. What do we mean by this feedback loop? You see here this image. This real-time feedback loop means that human translators, this is what you see here on the left-hand side, can produce higher quality translations at much higher speeds. And how do they do this? Through receiving predictive suggestions from an intelligent machine. That's what you see here on the right-hand side. And this intelligent machine continuously learns and adapts from human feedback. So you see here this feedback loop in between the human translator and the machine. And so again, this machine continuously learns and adapts from the human feedback, which in turn produces even better suggestions back to the human. And this is how this virtuous cycle is created. Through this cycle, Lilt augments professional translators. It enables higher quality and faster human translation, more accurate machine translation, all the while providing always visibility into the workflow in real time. And we're going to see this in a few minutes, how exactly we do this and what this looks like. Lilt also allows you to work on continuous translation projects. For example, if you get updated versions of documents or new documents, you can leverage all your previous work for the new documents. And also, Lilt allows you to collaborate in a team and also to share translation jobs with other translator colleagues. Okay, so how does Lilt implement this human-machine partnership that we talked about? So first, we do this with an intuitive interface. And for this, I'd like to show you other similar interfaces. So you may know this when you do a search in a search engine and you start typing, the system gives you suggestions based on the words that you already typed, or even based on the letters that you type. And the more context you give the machine, so the more words you type, then the better the suggestions become. Similar to that also, you may know this on your smartphone. When you type and send a text, for example, to a friend, then the system also gives you suggestions based on the letters or on the words that you already typed. And this technology or this interface is known by billions of people. And it also has two advantages. So first, it is quicker. So especially if you imagine typing an entire email on your smartphone, you don't have to type all the words, but the system gives you suggestions of these words, so you can just click and accept a word without having to type the entire text yourself. The second is that it's more accurate because the suggestions that you get from the system, they're usually spelled correctly, and you're less likely to make any spelling mistakes. So how does this look like in Lilt in a translation interface? So of course, a translation interface is a bit different because you also have you have a source and a target text involved. You have two languages. It's not just monolingual. You see here an animation taken from our web application, and this shows how the translator interacts with the machine. And so you see here in this animation, when you start typing words, the system gives you, let's just wait for for this animation to start again. Here you start typing words, and then you see here at the bottom suggestions, and these suggestions, they also change. So as you type, the suggestions that you see below, they change because they get more context based on what you've already typed. So you can iteratively refine your translations. And second is that the system also learns in real time. So here in this example, the original translation of Les rivières isolées is the isolated rivers, which is also in the second sentence wrong. So we correct this in the first sentence to lonely rivers, and then it learns automatically that this is the correct translation and applies it to the second segment. We're going to see another example for this later, more slowly, so you can really see the real-time adaptation. So this is for the technology. Let me also say a few words about data security and privacy in our cloud. A common question that translators and also businesses have about Lilt is usually, is my data safe? There's no need to worry. Lilt was built with that concern in mind. And basically, when you upload translation memories or documents, your data is always encrypted. And also, when you upload files or translate a document, then those translations are only associated with your account. So data is always private to your account. And this never shared with anyone else. So data, your documents or translation memories, anything is not shared with any other users or accounts. And finally, also, we built our own technology, our own translation technology, so data also never leaves our data center. We don't share your data with any third-party translation service. All right, so okay, finally, a few, or some feedback that I would like to share with you from our translators. So you see that if you read through this feedback, Lilt is really built for translators, and we built it so that you could get the productivity benefits of machine translation, but without the dreadful experience of post-editing. And this is now what I will show you in our application. So let's go to Lilt. Actually, also let me log out here. So Lilt is cloud-based software. You don't need to download or install anything. You just open it in your browser. And then you log in. So I log in here with my translator account. Sign in. And then what I see here is my project dashboard. So here you see all the projects that I'm currently working on. There's only one. What I would like to show you now is how to create a new project. So let's create a new project. For this, we're going to translate technical support content. And we're going to do this for the language pair German to English. And so once I select the language pair, it also asks me about the memory. The memory is the core concept of Lilt, so let's spend a few minutes on what the Lilt memory is. You can click here on this question mark also to see a description, or also here in our knowledge base, we have this little image that explains what a memory is. If you know translation memories, a memory in Lilt is more than just a translation memory. So in fact, it combines a translation memory, term base, and your custom machine translation system. So basically, it's a collection or a container for all your bilingual data that you have. And as I said previously, your data is always private to your account, so memories are, of course, also private to your account. You see here this memory highlighted in gray. And you see that you can add translation memories into the Lilt memory. So you can add several files. You can add term bases, and these are used to build also your custom machine translation system. Whenever you create a new memory, you always have the Lilt baseline machine translation system and also baseline lexicon available. So these are always available when you create a new memory in Lilt. and then you customize this memory with your own data that you upload into this memory. And then while you, or either as a single translator or within a team, while you work on a project and translate sentences and confirm these translations, then these are fed back immediately into the system. So this is the interactive and adaptive machine translation system, or this feedback loop that I explained earlier, that the system learns in real time from your translations. You see how these arrows here go back into the translation memory, term-based, and into the custom machine translation system. You also see, again, about data privacy. Your data just stays within your memory and it's not feeding back into the generic or into the baseline machine translation system. All right, so let's go back to the project here. So I can either create a new memory or I can use an existing memory. So here I'm going to use an existing memory, which is empty. Yeah, so you only really need 3 things to create a project: a name, the language pair, and the memory that you want to associate with the project. So now I created this project, and this is now I'm in the project. You see here on the top left corner a small summary, the name of the project, the language pair, and also the memory that's associated with this project. At the beginning, the memory is empty. So let's actually upload some translation memories here to train the machine translation system and also have them available for matches. So I have a translation memory here. Let's pick this one for technical support content. By the way, if you click on this question mark here, you see which formats we support for translation memories and also for term bases. So in the meantime, this translation memory has been uploaded. By the way, you can import as many translation memory files or term-based files that you have here. So it's not just limited to one file. So here I uploaded a very small translation memory with only 14 segments and 84 words. So this translation memory is now immediately available for the documents that I want to translate. And also the machine translation system has been trained. So again, if we go back to this image here, we've just uploaded translation memories, and this custom machine translation system has now been trained. And okay, but so far we don't have any documents here. So let's also upload a document that we want to translate. And for this, we also have here a small German document. Again, you can check which file formats we support. We support all the Microsoft Office formats, general text and XML formats, bilingual localization formats, XLIF, and so on. And okay, back in our project. As I said, it's a very small file. It has only 8 segments, 48 words. And there's also a summary here on the right-hand side. You see how much has been translated already. We just uploaded the document, so this is at 0%. And also we track the translation time and the words per hour, and you see these numbers update while you work. Now, before we translate or before we look into this document, let's open the quote builder. The quote builder also gives you a leverage report. So basically shows you how much you can leverage the translation memory for your document. So you see here that there's, for example, one exact match with your translation memory, and there's a lower fuzzy match, and also there's one repetition. So with that in mind, you can create a quote, for example. Okay, so now let's go to our document. So I said earlier that you can also share projects. You can share translation jobs with other translators. You can do that by opening this this document menu here, click on share, and you can just assign another translator here, and they will get an email so they can join your project and translate this document. Okay, so we're not going to do that now, but instead we're going to open this document. So this is our editor, what you see here. And so our translation editor. The first thing that you see that by default it looks very different from other CAD tools that you may have been used to. Often you have this column-based layout where you have the source sentence on the left-hand side and the translation on the right-hand side. And we just decided to design Lilt with this interleaved design because it's much less tiring to the eyes because you need to make shorter distances between source and target sentence. You can much easier identify translations of each other if you just go up and down. Instead of going left to right. But you can also change, here on top there's a small menu that you see. You can also change the view and decide, for example, to choose this split view. This is the column-based layout that I just mentioned, which you maybe used from other tools, and there you can also work with that layout. All right, so let's just go back into this default view. So what you see first here is translation memory matches. So we've seen them already in the quote builder. And there was one 100% match, and this is the first one here. Actually, if I click also into it, I can see also that this is a 100% match, and from which that this is coming from the translation memory file that we uploaded earlier. The second sentence is a fuzzy match, and you see also here on the left-hand side the percentage of the fuzzy match. By the way, we show only 75% matches and higher, so not any lower. And you also see here the difference between the translation memory match and the source sentence. So I know which word to change, which is here the first word. Then I can confirm this translation. So you just saw that I confirmed this translation with the hotkey. So you can either go here and click confirm, but once you're typing, you also want to use hotkeys, and you can check the hotkeys here by clicking on this question mark. And for confirming a sentence, this is Command Enter. All right, so now this third segment, actually for the remaining segments, there are no translation memory matches. So what you see here is machine translation suggestions. And how's this organized? You always have, for the current segment that you have highlighted, you see the source segment, and then you see here the translation suggestion below. And then you have here your translation field where you enter your translation. And what I can do here is, so it always highlights the next word in purple. So this is similar to what we saw earlier with these interactive interfaces, the search engine, and also the typing in your smartphone, that you get suggestions here at the bottom, and you can select always the word. And we highlight it here in purple. And you can either click on these words like this, but again, you want to use hotkeys to translate fast. And you do this by pressing just enter. So again, you can look up the hotkeys here, and it shows you if you press enter, then this auto-completes with the highlighted word. What you can also do in this case, actually, the translation looks perfect. So I can just accept the entire translation. And I do this, again, you can look it up in the hotkeys, but I do this with Shift-Enter. I can insert the entire suggestion, and then I can confirm the suggestion with Command-Enter. Now, in the fourth segment, this is not a perfect translation, so here we actually have to do some work. And I would just like to show you a comparison to a post-editing workflow. So in a post-editing workflow, you would have the machine translation output already here, and then you would have to go and fix the translations. Please press enter to get to the next window. So this is what you would do in a post-editing scenario. But in Lilt, we don't want you to have to post-edit, but just translate. and translate or with the help of the suggestions that you see at the bottom. So I can, up until here, please press enter too. The translation looks fine, so I can just accept the words that are suggested by the system. And here I just need to change and insert a word. I want to insert get. And then every time I press space, then this triggers an update in the system. And you see that it automatically inserted the word to here. So because now the system got more context of what I want to type here, or how I want to translate this sentence, now it changed also the rest of the translation. It inserted the word to, so that now the rest of the translation looks fine to me. And again, with Shift Enter, I can just complete the entire remaining sentence. And then again, Command Enter, I can confirm this translation. Now, so this is how you interact with the system within a sentence. Now I would like to show you how the system also learns from your translation, so that it doesn't make the same mistakes over and over. So we have here sentence, die Legitimierung ist gescheitert, and it translates into the authentication failed. But this is wrong, it should be authentication. So let's fix this. The authentication, I also use here has failed. And now if I go to the next segment before I confirm this, you see that actually the next two segments, again, we have the same word here, Legitimierung. Here it's not authentication, but it suggests legitimacy, which is in that context also not good. So what I want to show you now, that when I confirm this translation, do this now, then the system learns from this and it updates the translation. So you saw that it changed from legitimacy to authentication. And this is because we gave the system this correct translation in this context, and now learned from that and applies this to all subsequent translations. So you don't need to correct the same mistake again and again, but now you can simply insert the entire suggestion, so you don't need to spend any time correcting this again, and then just confirm the translation. And then this the seventh segment here is just a repetition. We also saw this earlier in the quote builder, and this is automatically confirmed. Now this is one way how you can make the system learn. A second way is via terminology. And I've said earlier that in Lilt you have, actually in the memories page here, I showed that the translation memories and term-based and the machine translation system are tightly integrated. So if we go back here, for example, here this word Anmeldebildschirm should be login screen. Screen is missing here in this translation. We can first actually also do just a lookup in the lexicon. So we have a built-in lexicon and concordance search. And there's no entry here in the lexicon or in the term base at the moment, but you see concordance results, and these are based on the data that is also in our machine translation system. And they are, by the way, also ranked according to relevance to your document. So if I scroll through these, again, I said already earlier that the correct term that should be used, or that I would like to use here, is login screen. So let's just add this here, in German this, and in here login screen. And now we add this to the term base in this project. So you see now here on the right hand side that now you have this entry. It's also highlighted in orange. So orange always means that this is somehow connected to your project, or to the memory that's connected to your current project. And also, if you go to the left-hand side here, you see that now the translation suggestion adjusted, and it also uses the knowledge from the term base here. So now, if I want to translate this, last user. So here that now some reordering has happened, but this is also fine. We just type is, and then the system, you see, reorders on its own. So you don't need to actually do the reordering. Displayed in the login screen, I can just accept the remaining of the sentence. So these are two ways how you can make the system learn translations and provide better suggestions over time. Let me just show you one final thing also. So here's something highlighted that you may have seen. This is our automatic QA, which runs whenever you confirm a sentence. Here it's complaining about a spelling mistake, but it isn't one. This is just the name of the file here in that case. But for example, let's just show a real example. So if I were to write here or misspell window, and when QA triggers, I can also manually trigger it here. And then if I click into this, then I also see spelling suggestions. So we have automatic QA running in the system. It checks for spelling mistakes, grammar issues, and also style, gives us some style suggestions. Okay, and then just confirm it again. All right, this is how Lilt works, or how our editor mainly works. Once you're done with the file, you can also simply download it from here. And yeah, so this is how our editor looks like and how it works. Now we have some time for questions. Okay, we have one question. Do you have to export the Finnish translation? It depends. So if you're working for a client who doesn't have access to Lilt, then you have to export the document and send it to them. If you're working as a translator within a team with a project manager or with a client directly in Lilt, then you don't need to export the document, but you can just notify them that you're done, or they actually will see that you are done with the translation, and they can get the document from Lilt themselves. Okay, if there are no more questions, I would just like to conclude by showing you that we have an extensive knowledge base. I already referred to these pages a couple of times. You can always open that here if you click on help in the header menu. So you see everything, articles about everything that I just talked about and much more. And also, if you have any questions or just would like to give us feedback, then you always have a chat button on the in the bottom right corner. So if I log out, it should appear here. So you can always here open a chat and start talking to us. So if you see any issues, or if you have a problem with accessing files or something, or just a question, or just would like to give any feedback about Lilt, you can do that here. All right, thank you very much, and hope to see you on Lilt soon. Bye.